So what are the worst Easter egg steps in the history of Call of Duty Zombies? Well, I mean, that's kind of a little bit for you to decide what you think, but in this video, I'm going to be sharing what I think are just some of the worst, annoying, just wish they didn't exist Easter egg steps ever, because, oh my gosh, just thinking about these steps, they get me triggered, dude. It is so annoying. Regardless though, we are going to be putting a top 10 list, but don't really put too much into the rankings. Sure, they'll get more annoying as we go further onto the list, but really we're splitting hairs here, and you could really adjust this list in any way you really want and it'll be just as annoying. But regardless though, let's not waste any more time and get into these worst Easter egg steps in the history of Call of Duty Zombies. Number 10, the Firebase C Mimic step. And I will admit, I may have a personal vendetta against this because, sometimes during this Easter egg step, you can really find yourself in a blender, and other times you can find yourself just completely after 3 rounds. And the reason that is the case is because this Easter egg step is easy, but also very easy to fail, because you have to use these devices to suck a mimic into in a specific location, but on top of that, you have to lower that mimic's health down to 10% of it dying, and if you accidentally kill it or don't lower its health enough, then you're going to fail that step and you have to go another round, which you are already going to have to go 3 rounds to do this step if you're doing it perfectly. But if you make a mistake 1, 2, 3 times, those are 3 extra rounds that could leave you in a blender that you just find yourself in a way higher round than you were expecting. Number 9, the Origin Staff and Robot step. I forget what it's actually called, the step, but that's what I'm calling it. And I know in the original Black Ops 2 there is a glitch that lets you just pretty much skip this step by putting the fire staff back in and out, in and out, in and out until it's done, which I get, but at the same time I cannot forget my experience doing this Easter egg on Zombies Chronicles on solo, and oh my gosh, it is the absolute worst, because after you put the fire step under Pack Punch, you just have to grab one of the 3 other staff and then hope the right robot shows up, because you can only put a specific staff in a specific robot, and if that robot doesn't come, you can find yourself waiting a long time. And I checked the gameplay for my last Easter egg completion of Origins on this map, and I found myself waiting 20 minutes until I finally got all the staffs in the correct robots. Number 8, the Garage Crovey Bomb step. So this is actually kind of the flip of the previous one with Origins, which is definitely easier with more players compared to solo, but this one is the opposite, because on solo, when the order of the bombs that you have to interact with goes off, you can just keep pausing in between each time you see a location, but on co-op, there's no pausing, so you just have to hope that you guys see it in the correct order, and you don't have time to sit back and think about it because you are on a very short time limit. And if somebody just makes the simplest mistake of hitting it in the wrong order, anybody standing within the vicinity of any of the other bombs have just instantly gone down, and that just threw an entire wrench in your entire run of the Easter egg. Number 7, the Revelations Rock/Bone step. And this step is annoying because it is so hard to see these rocks, and sure, 3 of the locations out of the 6 aren't difficult to deal with, but the other 3 are. The one outside of Origins, that's dumb because it's really hard to see because it's surrounded by a bunch of other rocks, and then there's the one on the wall, run in the Rising Rocket, which is hard to hit with the Apothecary Servant, and the worst one out of all of them, the one in Spawn that's inside the broken church that's surrounded by a million other rocks. So good luck seeing that, and even when you do see that, good luck seeing the bone after that in order to shoot it with the Apothecary Servant, because it's just so difficult to see. Number 6, the Buried Sharpshooter step. And it really wouldn't be one of these videos without mentioning this one, because this step is notorious now. But why is this Easter egg so bad? Well, it's because you need 4 players in your game all shooting these targets within a very limited time, all successfully hitting every single one of them. Like, nobody can miss a single one of them, which is incredibly annoying for us Zombies players, because we play Zombies for a reason, or at least most of us, and because of that, we can't aim, right? So zombies players, they ain't known for their aim. That's literally why in the settings there's an auto aim setting specifically for zombies, because zombie players can't aim. But then all of a sudden out of nowhere, now we're asked to shoot all these targets super fast without missing a single one. We're going to have to flick from target to target, target to target, and hopefully all 4 players in your game hit them all. And if they do, then you complete the Easter egg. But guess what? That's not happening most of the time. Number 5, the Ancient Evil Raw step. Yeah, this step sucks on co-op, solo, and especially on solo, and we'll get into that here in a bit. But what you do for the step is actually give Raw the Gauntlet of Chimera, or whatever it's called, and then it starts shooting a beam at the wall, and these skeletons start showing up with a bunch of other zombies trying to block that beam from hitting the wall, which surprisingly they don't have to block for that long. But also Treyarch said, that's not difficult enough, let's spawn a freaking Blightfather too, which is just not great. And you know, that's difficult on its own, but for the solo players out there, it gets a little bit worse. And you may not have realized why it was worse, but I already said why. And it's because, what did I say you had to give Raw? The Gauntlet of Chimera, literally the wonder weapon. So on solo, all you have is one gun, and it ain't the wonder weapon. Number 4, the Dead of the Night scratches slash, I guess, astrology step. I don't really know what to call it. And I don't really think I need to explain why this is so bad. I just need to tell you guys that why in the hell do we have to memorize so many freaking locations to do the steps? You have to memorize the location of the astrology symbol in these rooms, and then on top of that, you have to memorize where all the scratches are, or at least have the guide next to you. So future tell I'm cutting in here because I thought of a better way of showing you how many locations you have to know, or at least find, to do this step. Instead of just doing what I did in the original recording, I'll just show you the guide. Here's the guide on Reddit, and this is listing off the location of every zodiac symbol and the scratches to correspond to them. Yeah. Number 3, the Voyage of Despair plug catalyst step, or catalyst plug step, whatever you want to call this step. It is dumb, and we're going to spend a little bit more time explaining this one because it is taking a bit to explain this. But how this Easter egg step works is that there are going to be plugs randomly throughout the map that start sparking, and luckily for us, when they spark a color that correlates to one of the catalyst zombies, which means you have to kill a catalyst zombie of that kind next to it, and you have to do that with all 4 different catalysts. And when you do that, these little devil symbols will appear on the floor, and what you do from there is interact with them, and then you have to do 4 lockdowns. Why 4 lockdowns? That's a lot of lockdowns to do back to back to back to back. That just seems like a lot, and they're not easy locations where you're doing these lockdowns. These are pretty difficult places to try to survive in, so it's not a great experience. Even the water fills up, and I just don't know why that's the case. Either way, it's not easy. But let's say that you went and did that, but wait a minute, I can't actually go to the next step. What's going on here? I just did the previous step. Well, maybe you actually did the lockdowns in the incorrect order, because you actually have to do them in the correct order, which is acid, ice, electricity, fire. And if you didn't do it in that order, you can't continue to the next step. Okay, whatever. It really sucks that you just waste your time doing 4 lockdowns. That sucks, but let's do them again. Okay, but which one was the acid, ice, electric, and fire one? Because those plugs are no longer sparking, so you have to go off memory alone. So if you did the crime of forgetting where you killed the acid, ice, and electric, and fire catalyst zombies at, well, you're pretty much screwed, because you'll never be able to figure out which is the correct order to do the lockdowns in. Number 2, the 9's poop step, or I guess we'll be nice here and call it the manure step, but you pick up poop during it, so it's a poop step. But why is this so bad? Well, maybe it's because it ruins the rest of the freaking Easter egg. Like, this step alone makes the rest of the Easter egg worse. Like, this step, if you took it out, this Easter egg would be so much better, but it's made worse solely because of this step. But why is that? Well, the reason is that this is the very first step of the Easter egg. And the problem becomes when you actually cannot, it is physically impossible to complete this Easter egg step earlier than round 16. Like, if you're being as optimized as possible, the earliest you could do it is round 16. And that just is like, why? Why can I not do an Easter egg for the first 15 rounds of this game? I literally loaded up this map to do an Easter egg, but for the first 15 rounds, I'm not doing that. And that is just outrageous to me. And all it really does is just artificially make the Easter egg more difficult. Number 1 and the worst Easter egg step in the history of Call of Duty Zombies definitely goes to Blood of the Dead's killer step. I don't know, it's where these the stories that he's a killer, but nobody knows that. Either way, the step I'm talking about, I'm sure everyone is familiar with. It's where you have to go shield blast a zombie and then you have to suck him with the key. That didn't sound weird in my head, but when I said it out loud, it sounded weird. Either way, though, what you have to do is simply just suck him with the key, and then he'll disappear. You'll shield blast him again, suck him with the key, shield blast him, and it's a great journey, right? Already great stuff, and let's just ignore the fact that this is just an escort step, except with even worse parts to it. Like, we already know escort steps are the worst in zombies, except now I have to be sucking him on the way through. I need to stop saying that. That's bad enough, you know, that you have to go constantly follow the guy, sucking him with the key and just ruining everything. But what really makes it the worst Easter egg step of all time and rises it above all the other ones is that the amount of shield blast you need in order to suck him enough, oh my gosh, is always going to be more than you really want it to be. Whether it be on co-op that everybody in the game needs to blast him a couple times, or on solo that even if you started with max blast, by the end of it you're going to need at least one more. So even if you were trying to hold that one last zombie, it doesn't matter because now you have to end the round to get more shield blast, and that is exactly why it just gets so bad. And this is exactly why this Easter egg step is by far the worst in the history of Call of Duty Zombies.